3, 2. Louis, I told you we're live. Stop.
I refuse to cough.
Don't flagellate yourself again. I think it's working, Louis. Look at that. Always a miracle. Boom! And we're live. Oh wait, that's me. You guys like what you see? How about this? How about now? Boom! Look at that. Full Lewis Wallace. You guys owe me money.
I'm so sorry.
This type of thing shouldn't be free.
Should I thought you were gonna you say, "Give me money, I'll make it go away."
That would have been more accurate, wouldn't it? If LK were here, that would be the threat. I'm leaving LK on full screen until you guys send me some money.
All kinds of ways to make money. The accordion band used to do that. We'd go into bars and play Lady of Spain until people gave us money to leave.
We made thousands a night. Yeah, accordion, man. That's one of those instruments. It's like bagpipes, where I'm not totally sure why it exists. Especially bagpipes. I would definitely put bagpipes in the number one spot.
I love the bagpipe.
You got to be kidding me.
That intro to "It's a Long Way to the Top" if you want to rock and roll. I love that.
I actually don't even know what you're talking about.
We should play that at the beginning of the episode.
I'll go listen to that after we're done. But the bagpipes, they're great in very small quantities. I mean, like 10 seconds a week max. You know.
You're talking about my people here.
Opening up for a movie scene, a dramatic funeral or something, you know, it's like bagpipes. Other than that, though, no one's trying to listen to bagpipes.
Man, in Taormina, Sicily.
Oh, the tweet. Yep.
There's a guy who, like, he's a bagpiper. He comes down off the mountain and plays the bagpipes in the streets.
Oh man,
which is odd, but Italy.
Do people throw things at him?
Money.
Yeah, right. And by money, you mean tomatoes and other compostables. Look, I'm going to have to compose this on the fly, Lewis. I forgot the tweet. I knew I was forgetting something. CultCast is live talking iPhone 15 plus Midjourney and demo. How about that?
Trying to get in on that AI action.
Trying to get in on that AI. On that AI action, Lewis. If only I could have... I should write ChatGPT to write me these tweets. That would actually be interesting. Although, I don't know. Can it write a viral tweet? I don't know. I'm dubious. Boom! There's the tweet, Lewis. I didn't proofread it. I'm not going to proofread it, Lewis. Get over it. All right, we got Adam Broussard in the chat. He goes, boom! He also wants a very aggressive, yeah. I don't want to hear nothing about it, Lewis. He wants some more nostril sounds. We'll definitely get that going. We got iCave Dave here. We got Dipsy Doo. We got Mark T. We got the Dr. Captain Zach Hicks is here, gracing us with his presence. Unbelievable. He says, tuning in from Apple Park, just arrived. What are you there for? Zach, I got to know. You going to the store? We got Fieldy going, yeah. Spelled it wrong, but I'll take it. All right, we're going to dive right into it. We got a lot of stuff to talk about today. Some of it interesting. And at the end, we're going to do a Midjourney demo. I don't know how interesting you'll all find this. What they call it generative AI, right? So like you feed it a prompt, a text prompt, and it comes up with an image. I've been playing around with this thing for like the last 2 days. It's one of the most bonkers advancement in technology that I've seen. One of the most bonkers technology advances I've seen in my lifetime. Like, that is not hyperbole. It may not be the number one, but it is going to be one of the most disruptive things that I think has ever been developed. And I'm going to show you some demos, and I'll show you some of the stuff that I made playing around with some of these generative AI art generators, and we'll do some of that. So let's see here. Lewis, what are you doing? Your eyeballs are dodging around like you just partook in...
I've got a tweet I've got to do, and I've got to, of course, fix up all the problems. Mm-hmm. I've got to, eliminate the problems in your tweet.
Oh, how dare you? Is there a problem in my tweet?
Oh, really? Is it? Okay.
Look, I didn't read it. I didn't proofread it. I just hit send. That's what I do, Lewis. Just hit send. That's my motto.
I mean, I only see 2 problems.
Well, you know what, Lewis? If you're going to make a big old stink about it, I will edit the tweet.
Let's just forget about it.
No. CultCast is live talking iPhone 15 leaks, Apple movies head to theaters, plus Midjourney 5 AI images and demo is bonkers.
Bonker.
is bonker. Shouldn't it say are bonkers?
Demo is. Also, Midjourney is one word. Sorry. One
You know
word,
what?
no
You know-
intercap.
No cap?
No intercap.
Oh man. Well, I should probably adjust the title too. I blame you for that.
How much time do we have?
Okay.
Take it easy.
All right, let's do it. We're going live. Let me cue up Mrs. D. Oh, Mrs.
At
D.
last, here we go.
Mrs. D. Mrs. D sounds a little hoarse. Oh, yes. Mrs. D, what do you think about generative AI? Oh, I made some very erotic art of El Kini. Oh. Well, I guess it's all about your imagination. Oh, yes. I should show you what I imagined. No, I'd rather not see that. Mrs. D, if you don't mind, let's go ahead and get the show queued up here. We got a lot of news to get through and not very much time to do it. So without further ado, we'll get the music going in 3, 2. Hello and welcome to CultCast, the best 30-plus minute Apple conversation you're going to hear all week long. I'm your host, Eric Elijah. Joining me today, his abnormally large forearms and weird tics might lead you to believe that he's some kind of AI creation. But it's the thousands of hours throwing darts that created those Popeye arms. And the thousands of hours with El Caney that resulted in those tics and confusing mumbles. He's magic careful to
Could it just be one Popeye arm?
Well, yeah, it's a good point. Why are both of your forearms those weird Popeye arms?
It's
I just thought you were
Neanderthal DNA.
I thought maybe you're just ambidextrous. Nope, it's you're half caveman. All right, we got a lot of stuff to talk about today. Let me see here. For those of you that joined us for the pre-show, sorry, you're gonna have to hear this again, but you're probably used to that. We got some new features coming to iOS that we'll talk about. We've got let's see here, some leaked information on iPhone 15. We got some new information on iPhone 15 that you all might find interesting. Let's see here. Oh yes, we've got some news to share about Apple's big plans to become a top Hollywood movie producer, and it looks like their movies are coming to the big screen. They're kind of going backwards. I feel like everyone's fleeing the movie theaters. Like I was actually kind of worried that the movie theaters were going to go out of business, honestly, because no one's going there. And then we're gonna wrap up. This is not really. It's a slow Apple News week, so I was kind of just thinking of other things that we might talk about. If you're not following what's happening in the world of AI image generation, I'm going to show you some demos today, and I'll talk about them too, of some of the most bonkers leaps in technology that I've ever seen in my lifetime. I mean, what AI can do now when you just give it a good prompt and the level of image that it's able to create is truly astounding. And so I've been playing around with one of the more popular ones, and I have some examples to show you, and I have some example images that I've created to show you, and I just want to just show you what's possible. And things are moving so fast. These tools keep getting better and better and better. Soon, even now, you're going to have a hard time knowing what is reality and what is not on the internet. And it was kind of always that way. But with these images now and the proliferation of Twitter and the headline readers, right? Like people read a headline, they see a picture, and they immediately just respond. We're in for a wild ride. I think this is one of the most disruptive. This is one of the most disruptive leaps in technology that I think I might have ever seen. So we'll talk a little bit about that at the end of the show for once all the Apple news is done. Let's hear it before we dive in, Lewis. Before we dive in. Let me see. I want to thank Milio for supporting this episode. Did I pull this up? I don't think I did. Let me go ahead and pull up Milio real fast. mylio.com/cultcast. My friends, if you're like me and you need more from iCloud Photos, Milio is exactly what you have been looking for. Which is funny because they came to me and were like, hey, can we sponsor your show? And I heard about their service, and I was like, this is exactly what I've been looking for. It is a cross-platform tool that manages your photos on PC, on your Mac, on your iPhone, on Android, and it has a ton of really powerful features that are built in. So why am I excited about Milio? Well, you know that I've had issues with iCloud photos, reliability issues. I also don't love that it only lives on my Mac. And I've tried so many different photo storage solutions. They have never really worked quite the way that I needed them to. And this is kind of like the best option that is out there. And I need a tool that allows me to organize and protect my years of photos across different devices. And that's exactly what Milio does. Milio is a smart and powerful system for managing your lifetime of photos. Whoops. Let me put that over there. With the Milio Photos app, years of photos, videos, important documents across all your devices are cataloged into one shared library. Everyone in your family will have access to it. There's no cloud storage required. You can access your data offline and automatically encrypt it for the cloud. If you want to upload it to the cloud, you can do that. And you can search for practically anything, date, location, keywords. They have really powerful indexing features when you're importing your photos as well to make everything extremely searchable so that you can find exactly what you're looking for. I also like that it works with your NAS. So if you have a NAS like I do and you want to use your NAS to store all your photos, you can do that. And this is like the next generation of photo storage, right? You don't have a limited amount of storage space like you do with iCloud photos. Like I'm out of space in iCloud, and like, what do? Are you gonna pay Apple an additional $25 a month to get another 2 terabytes of space? Like, that is just outrageous. And Apple doesn't fix the problem by offering you more space because they want you to be paying them $50 a month. Huh?
It's not a problem.
Well, it's a problem for us. It's definitely not a problem for TC.
It's an opportunity.
So this is it. If you want a cross-platform tool that has no storage limits with really powerful search, a great editing engines that you can use to like edit your photos, that you can use to share photos with your friends and family, this is exactly what I think you've been looking for. Check it out. We've arranged for a special limited time discount for our listeners. You can get 30% off your first year of Milio when you sign up for an annual plan. To get this offer, just go to milio.com/cultcast. That's MYLIO.com/cultcast. And you can get 30% off your first year of service at milio.com/cultcast. Check it out. I don't think that there's a better tool out there. And this kind of solves all the problems that I have been complaining about for the last year with iCloud Photos, which has been a godsend because iCloud Photos does some things really well, but it's just way too limited for most people. All right, Lewis, let's go ahead and dive into the news. Lewis, dive into the news. Do you want to talk about voice isolation? I know you're a big fan of isolating voices.
I'm a big fan of isolation.
Yeah, especially from LK. It's like if he's around, it's like you just want to get isolated right away. I get that.
Yeah, so voice isolation for phone calls is finally coming to iPhone. If you use FaceTime, I guess does it work in Zoom? I didn't even realize that, but this already exists in iOS 15 for FaceTime calls, but now it's coming to cell phone calls. Actually using your cell phone. And so now when you're talking on a call, it's going to block out that background noise so you can hear everything wonderfully. And this is I think this is a new feature that popped up in the latest iOS 16.4 beta that just came out. The release candidate came out this week.
Okay.
I don't think that it had really been talked about much prior to that. Anyway, the big question for me is like, well, two questions. One, how does it work? Because you say you've used it, and I don't do FaceTime calls.
Well, it's just kind of on. Like, I don't even notice that it's on.
So you don't actually know if it's better or worse.
Oh, well, I haven't really tested it, but I do know that because I know other people that I talk to via FaceTime just sound very clear.
Okay.
And when I talk to people on the phone, you know how there's that weird change in quality when you talk to people on the phone, and you can hear like every little movement or background noise or cars going by or whatever. And when you talk to people on FaceTime, like you just hear their voices so clearly. So to me, that is it in action, right?
Yeah,
it's
okay.
like you can actually just hear the person's voice. All the ambient noise that you would otherwise hear on the phone just fades to the background, gone completely or significantly. And right now, when you talk to somebody on the phone, it's always like their voice is a blend of all these other noises. If it's LK, there's like itching, lots of itching. There's like fart noises happening all the time.
You hear the skin
right?
flaking off? Is that what you're saying?
You hear the skin. You hear like the bags of chips being
grinder.
rustled. There's
Yeah.
typing. It's like it's just sound. It's like audio clutter. You know.
Yeah, well, so I make more phone calls than I do FaceTime calls, so I'll be interested to hear this. So then the second question is, what took so long? Why they are just now bringing this to cell calls? Which, ostensibly that's what the iPhone was invented for. One of the main reasons. Actually, I realize phone calls have become less popular in recent years.
Dude,
but,
I hate talking on the phone. I try to avoid it at all costs. And the funny thing is like I don't mind talking on FaceTime. Like if I can see someone's face, then I actually kind of like talking. Because there's a lot of body language that gets communicated when you're talking. And if you just go silent when you're on the phone, people are like, hey, you still there? But with FaceTime, they can see that you're there. They can see your facial expressions or whatever. It's just a more casual communication experience.
The eyebrows come into play.
Oh, yeah. I believe me, I employ those. Any chance I get, bounce them up and down.
Yeah. Cell phone call is just worthless.
I don't have nearly the level of influence on phone calls I do when you get to see these bad boys bouncing up and down like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is just like in an NBA match. Just going boing, 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 boing. Look at that.
Most of the calls that I make are in my truck using CarPlay.
Oh, well, look at you, Lewis. So fancy, free.
I just don't make very many phone calls.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind talking on CarPlay, but I don't have it.
I'm so sorry.
Which is funny because your truck is from like 1984. Lewis's truck is so old.
Oh, come on now. 2001.
Lewis's truck is so old that he's been in a battle with the state of California for like 4 months to get it registered because it won't pass the emissions test, but the truck is too old to fix.
They quit making the part.
So they won't make the part because the truck is too old. So Lewis can't get his car license because the state of California doesn't believe that the part can't be acquired. And so he's just like in this weird back and forth between the mechanic and the state of California trying to get his truck license. This is a whole story. This has been going on for months. Is
this close to having it all sorted out?
It's this close. But the thing is like, how long has this been going on? We have been talking about this.
You said 4 months? This started almost 2 years ago.
See? That's why you got to upgrade. But you got CarPlay. You got me beat there.
That's why the Lord made aftermarket CD players.
Yeah, I used to, like, when I was in college, I think I literally carried like a CD player in my car. So I had this car. I called it the Silver Bullet. Man, this thing, I think I bought it for like $700, right? It was an Oldsmobile something or other. And all the paint on the outside had completely eroded. It was like gray primer. And it had like the back of it had like a half cloth top that was just there for decoration purposes.
Is that called a Brougham?
I don't know what that's called, but I'm impressed that you know. But this thing, I don't know where this car lived its life, but it had been like baked off by the sun. So the top layer was coming apart. It was like disintegrating and like all the padding was coming out of it. Well, then the birds decided to start making nesting material out of the top, so they would come land on the car and just start pulling off pieces. So it kind of looked like Big Ern in the movie. I can't remember the name of the movie. Oh man, do you know Bill Murray's character Big Ern in the movie with Woody Harrelson?
Not ringing a bell.
Help me out, chat. Anyway, he's got like this comb over that's like super long, and like when he gets excited in this bowling match, it kind of just like floats in the air all wispy. And that's what that car looked like. And that thing was held together by the spiritual forces of God himself. But once I gave that car away, eventually I bought a new car and I just gave it to a friend of mine because he needed a car. And within a week of giving that thing away, the transmission broke, and he had to drive it home like 10 miles in reverse because reverse was the only gear that worked.
Kidding me?
Yeah. Oh, and I forgot to mention the best part. It was like the ultimate grandpa car. It had a turbocharger, first of all, so that thing would pick up and go.
Yeah.
And the seats were the most comfortable car seats I had ever sat in. It was like this plush burgundy interior with like these pillow tops
Burgundy.
seats.
It's like a rolling mattress.
And they had like these pillow cushions that were like 3 or 4 inches thick on the cushions. That thing was a dream to sit in. It was so comfortable. Kingpin,
eight
thank
miles
you.
to the
Kingpin
gallon.
was the movie. Yeah, and I don't know why we're talking about this, but that was my car when I was in college.
Quite a detour.
That was a detour. Let's see here. All right, let's keep going with the Apple news here because we got some other stuff to talk about here. One of the big stories out this week. Oh yeah, exciting news: iPhone 15 Pro Max could boast crazy thin bezels. Lewis, the thinnest that might be out there. Quite honestly,
Crazy thin.
The largest version of the iPhone 15 reportedly will come with the smallest screen bezels, like record-breaking thinness. An Apple tipster says the black area around the iPhone 15 Pro Max's display will be a mere 1.55 millimeters. I wonder what the iPhone 13 Pro is. Now I'm curious. Hold on a second. iPhone 13 Pro. iPhone 13 Pro.
iPhone 14 Pro, 2.17 millimeter.
Wow. Okay. So it's a significant reduction. In fact, if I would have just kept reading the story, it's right there in the story. Isn't it? The tipster who goes by the name Ice Universe, Ice Universe,
Cool.
claimed Friday on Twitter that the iPhone 15 Pro Max will break the record at 1.81 millimeter bezel, black edge. Oh, that was the 1.81. That's currently held by the Xiaomi 13. And the iPhone 15 Pro Max will be at a record-breaking 1.55, which, I mean, I don't care about records, but it's nice that they're going to cram a bigger screen into the same size phone. And plus, like the bezel around the iPhone 13 Pro is actually quite large. I would say, dare I say, thick with 2 C's, Lewis.
Jeez.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, look at one of those original iPhones sometime and just remind yourself how far we've come.
Oh man, let's see here. Original iPhone. Did you hear like a sealed one of those?
Yeah, one went for a crazy amount of money.
It was $55,000, I think.
That's a fair amount of cash.
Yeah, no kidding. Let's see. Do I have an image of it here? You know what I could do is potentially make one.
Oh, jeez.
No, I'm not gonna do that. Make one. Have a AI make one for me. So there you go. That's one of the features that we're expecting from iPhone 15. Is a much thinner bezel. Unfortunately, not all the changes are going to be changes that might be welcome changes. Am I right about that, Lewis?
Yeah. So there's this other rumor. Yeah. Well, we've been talking about this actually, but this is just like more indication it's actually happening that there's going to be solid state buttons instead of the click buttons on the iPhone, and the mute switch might go away and become a solid state button. The mute switch, the beloved mute switch.
Right.
So supposedly on iPhone 15 Pro and Pro Max, not the regular normie iPhones, this is going to be replaced with a static touch sensitive button. Our fear is that it's going to be too easy to activate. Might be a problem. And the other thing is that you won't have like a visual cue saying, "Oh, your phone's muted," right? And which, by the way, when you're using this, that's when it's nice to be able to say, you're at some kind of event or something, and you don't want your phone ringing. It's nice to be able to look down and say, "Oh, okay, good, it's muted." I did remember to mute it. It's good. It's good to have that visual confirmation. This latest stuff comes from leaked CAD images that allegedly show how the buttons on the upcoming iPhones will look very easy to press accidentally. Who knows though? Apple's good with haptics, right? So maybe they do something that makes it obvious. Like you have to press and hold, and you get a joy buzzer, kind of a shock when you hold it. Okay, it's off. Who knows?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of capacitive buttons. I like actual switchy clicky buttons, and my fear is that they're going to make this thing be a hold and press to turn mute on and off, because otherwise it would be turned on and off accidentally. and I really don't like that idea. Let's see here. We
Why
got
do you hate the one
T4
that
runners in the chat saying my phone is on mute 98% of the time anyway. Yeah, so is mine. Streamline the faux touchpad in the Mac and home button in the iPhone 7 are pretty good. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, Apple typically does a good job with this stuff, right? So
Yeah. I don't know. My other concern about this is if they make these things touch sensitive, doesn't that mean that they're going to have to that the cases that you use are going to have cutouts where you have to like jam your finger into the little hole to touch it?
yeah, well, that's interesting. You
Right.
know, will
And
this be
I don't
how is
like
it going
that
to
at
work with
all.
cases? Yeah,
I
maybe.
don't like that at all. So now you're gonna have cutouts, and what I don't like about the current mute switch is that you can just see it on my current phone. Let's see, can I show this? So it has a
It looks
cutout.
awfully blurry.
Yeah, it's not focusing. It's
No.
not focusing. It has a cutout for the mute switch, and you have to jam your finger into there, and it barely fits, and then you have to like switch it.
It
Not cool.
barely fits.
Yeah. Well, I have large, muscular fingers. It would probably not be a problem for Alexi Heath, but for you, with those pudgy Popeye fingers that you have, that might be a problem.
Pudgy Popeye fingers. Interesting.
Good.
I guess we should mention these images, these CAD things leaked were they came from an Apple tipster who's got the most delicious name anywhere, Shrimp Apple Pro. Every time I see something from Shrimp Apple Pro, I find myself hungry, just instantly, like ready for a snack.
I love shrimp, but I'm allergic to it.
Oh, terrible.
It was weird, man. Like, I never used to be allergic to shellfish. I used to eat it growing up. I mean, I lived a long time in California and near the water, so we used to eat like seafood all the time, like prawns, like giant prawns, man. Like, I love
fishing
giant prawns.
fishing them out of the thing on your own.
Well, I wasn't catching them myself. I didn't go in there and get a prawn into a headlock and kill it, but I did eat them from time to time. And then I was at my friend's house in college, probably around the same time I owned the Silver Bullet, and his parents live in a place where you can go crabbing, so they went and caught a bunch of crab, brought them inside, and I ate some, and I got super nauseous, and I was like, oh, that's weird. And then after that, I was just always allergic to shellfish. I can't eat it. If I do, I get nauseous and my throat starts itching.
That's bizarre.
Isn't that weird?
Late onset crab allergy.
Yeah, midlife onset shellfish allergy. So I mean, at least my face doesn't like balloon up.
What about oysters and clams?
Oysters and clams, fine. No problem.
It's the crustaceans that give you the problem.
It's just those weird sea bugs. The bottom feeding sea bugs,
Oh,
I know this is fascinating conversation. People want to hear me talk about my food allergies. I guess it's not an allergy. It's like insensitivity or a sensitivity.
It sounds like an allergy. The good thing about the solid state buttons is that we're getting closer and closer to maybe an actually like completely waterproof iPhone, right? I mean, because that would be better, right? No ports,
yeah.
no buttons, no ports.
Waterproof is one of my favorite features of all time. Like,
Although they're shockingly resilient to water already.
oh yeah, they definitely are. I mean, they have like the official IPX test they do. IP7?
I can never remember what those numbers even mean.
Yeah. Well,
They're endlessly typed out by people. Oh, it's IP67. Yes.
I think it is IP7. I would have to look. I'm actually not sure where we are now, but being able to take your phone in the water makes it so much more useful.
Especially at Splash Mountain, right?
Yeah. Unfortunately, that's no longer possible. Unless you go to, you can go to the one in Disneyland. But also, I learned this. In order to open up a Disneyland in Japan, I guess, required that they get to own a 51% stake in the park. And so I heard that when Disney came to them and said, we want to close Splash Mountain and turn it into something else, the Japanese government said, no, we're not doing that.
Oh, the one in Japan.
So I guess the Disneyland in Tokyo, I mean, as far as I'm aware, will have the only Splash Mountain on Earth once the one in, I think in France and in California closed, and it will be the last place that you go to do Splash Mountain. I don't know if that's true. That's what I heard, and I was like, wow, that's kind of a crazy story.
Did you ever hear why they closed it? I mean, what was it?
Oh
Usually
well,
it's always like, oh well, something. Oh, is this?
we could get it. We could get into that, but that might be a little too hot for this show.
I see.
Yeah,
It
or
wasn't just
controversial.
because people's iPhones were getting moistened.
Well, no, because the ride isn't changing at all. They're just retheming it to a different Disney property.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's gonna be like Captain Marvel's
No, it's gonna be
splashy splash.
it's gonna yeah, Iron Man's Splash Flight. It's gonna be like the Princess and the Frogs, Tiana, something Bayou or something.
Okay.
Okay, let's move on. But before we do, actually, Lewis, you want to talk about the selfie stick
Yeah, I mean,
that you would probably want to have with you if you went to a Disney park?
exactly. That's exactly what I was gonna say. Wow, man, the
I've been doing
thought
this
that
for
goes
years.
into these, it's shocking. This week's giveaway, and I think this ends in a couple of days, so don't want to, wait around. Just go and sign up for this as soon as you can. You enter to win the versatile selfie stick that does it all. 2 lucky winners have a chance to win an easy selfie stick. That's the name of it. Easy selfie, all one word.
Makes
stick.
it easy.
And this is made by Switch Easy. It's in this week's giveaway. As you might have guessed from the name, it's a selfie stick, but it's also much more than that. Extends 4 feet from its original length, or 4x. Sorry, 4x. 4 feet. That would be quite a stick.
That's quite a stick you have there.
It also works as a tripod for whatever you want to use a tripod for, and it also works as a Bluetooth camera remote. So it's a triple threat, man. This thing is fantastic. Retails for $44.99. If you want to read our review, our writer D. Griffin Jones gave it 5 stars. Loved it.
5 stars.
5 stars.
That's the most stars it can be given.
And that's out of 5.
Wow.
Right. Yeah, I should have made that clear.
5 stars? Was it out of 5?
Out of a
Actually,
million.
it's actually out of 20.
I recommend you go to the Cultimac homepage, scroll down to the giveaway section, click on that thing as soon as possible. As soon as you hear this, go, because it's ending in, like I said, 2 days. But you go there, your entry is free. You enter in a variety of ways. Very simple, very easy to do. And if you can't wait, if you just say I'm a loser, I'm not going to win the giveaway, you can go to the Cultimac store and buy one of these things, $44.99. If you just can't wait to see if you've won, or you for whatever reason are just kind of depressed and think that you're gonna lose automatically. So every week someone wins.
That is
could be
true.
you.
It could very easily be you. Very easily be you. Especially if you want to get my Venmo.
What?
That's a joke. That's a joke.
I would like to reiterate that this is 100% up and up giveaway.
Yeah.
As all Cultimac giveaways are. It's just like, how the Oscars have those, third parties with the people who make the envelopes and that. This isn't quite that elaborate, but, it's close.
Adam Broussard says selfie sticks aren't allowed at Disney. I forgot about that. So you won't be taking this to Disney. T4 Runner, I see your comment. I appreciate your comment. I'm not going to read that comment. I'm not going on videos saying what you just wrote there. But yeah,
they banned selfie sticks.
Yeah, I remember this. I don't know when this happened. It totally makes sense because I think they have a big problem with people holding out their phones on rides and stuff. And imagine if you're doing it with selfie sticks.
Ooh.
Like that's actually dangerous. They are already setting new limitations on people holding cameras on rides. Right now, they're actually pretty open, but because I don't think they actually care if you film the ride, but they don't want your arm getting chopped off, or they don't want you holding up a friggin' 4-foot selfie stick and it gets hit by a rail as you go,
jams somebody's eye out,
and it sprays shrapnel over the whole ride behind you. That would be a problem.
Makes sense. I'm sorry we ever even mentioned that this would be a good thing to take there because it's clearly a bad idea.
People are saying, why is Lewis so luminous and voluminous?
It's my inner glow.
It is quite a glow, too.
I can turn off that light.
It looks like you're about to be sucked up into an alien spaceship.
I can't get it right, man. I can't get the lighting right in this room. Everything's wrong. I don't know what to say.
Yeah, it's really bright today for some reason. I don't know why.
Let me go turn it off.
All right.
You turn to the kingdom of darkness.
Okay, and while Lewis is doing that, Let me see here, my friends. Let me also give a quick plug to.
I was so excited. I got the lights fixed. I had not one but two lights burned out.
Oh well, I'm so happy that you replaced those lights. Do you mind if I continue with this sponsorship read real fast?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Would you like to talk more about your light bulb
Oh
strategies?
God. Start over.
No, that's
Take
okay.
it, fix it, post.
I'm just giving you a hard time. I actually had just begun. But let me give a quick thank you to ExpressVPN for supporting this episode. I wish El Caney were here to listen to this because he needs this more than any. You know, I know most of you are probably thinking, why don't you just use incognito mode for your internet privacy? Well, let me tell you something. And El Caney can tell you this. Incognito mode does not hide your activity. It doesn't matter what mode you use or how many times you clear your browsing history. Believe me, El Caney's tried. Your internet service provider can still see every single website you've ever visited. And I think that's news that El Caney needs to hear. That's why even if you're at home, you should never go online without using ExpressVPN. Doesn't matter who your internet service provider is, ISPs in the US can legally sell your information to ad companies. So how does it work? ExpressVPN is an app that reroutes your internet through their secure servers so your ISP can't see the sites that you visit. ExpressVPN also keeps all your information secure by encrypting 100% of your data with the most powerful encryption available. Most of the time, you don't even realize that you have ExpressVPN running. It runs seamlessly in the background, and it's so easy to use. All you have to do is tap one button, and boom, you're protected, Lewis. ExpressVPN is available on all your devices, phones, computers, even your smart TV, so there's no excuse not to be using it. Protect your online activity today with the VPN rated #1 by Business Insider. You can visit our exclusive link, expressvpn.com/cultcast, and get an extra 3 months free on a single 1 year, on a 1 year package. That is expressvpn.com/cultcast, expressvpn.com/cultcast to learn more. Protect your data, protect your bits from all those lurkers out there. There's lurkers all over the place now, Lewis. And you got Big Brother overlooking your shoulder all the time. You're like, I'm gonna take a trip to the Capitol, do a little sightseeing, do that search online. Guess who's showing up at your door?
Wow, that's
Big
pretty
Brother.
negative view of the world.
Big Brother. You're going to the slammer. Let's see here, Lewis. Before we move on, where are we? I'm completely lost.
Oh, geez.
Oh, that's right. Okay, so do we want to talk about this? I love how we actually didn't split up the rest of these stories. Did you notice that?
I thought you wanted to talk about this one. There's only one more.
No. We got to talk about the story about Apple pouring $1 billion into movies.
Yeah, it's the only one left, right?
No, we're doing the demo of Midjourney after that.
Well, that's not a story, really.
It's only the big story of the
That's
week.
a demo.
Well, it's a story and a demo. It's a big story followed by a demo.
All right. Okay.
Do you want to do the movie one, or should I do it?
I could do it. Sure.
All right. Yeah, you take it away because I'm going to be talking about Midjourney for a while.
Apple might pour $1 billion into movies for theatrical release. I think this came out today from Bloomberg. They're saying that Apple wants to make a big splash in movie theaters, spend $1 billion to make films that they're going to, show in movie theaters as opposed to having it show up on Apple TV Plus first, right? I mean, this has kind of been a thing for a long time, right? It feels a little, 2015-y or something, right? Or even 2012.
It's like when Amazon decided to open up bookstores,
Well, part of that whole thing is movies have to be released theatrically to be, or they, at least in the past, had to be released theatrically in at least one or two places to be considered for all the awards, right? So that's what has happened a lot is they'll show a movie like in 2 theaters so it can be award ready, right? But now supposedly Apple's going to really double down on this. It's done this with a few movies like Sharper, which had a theatrical release in February.
Never even heard of it. Let's see here. Sharper.
Yeah, kind of a snoozer.
A Sharper Image biopic.
No, it's one of these like Oh, it's just, one of those things where, a mystery where people, each part of it, people keep interconnecting, whatever. It's okay. It's all right. It definitely was not like, it was no Severance. Let's put it that way.
Okay, well, a few shows are.
Right. They also, did a good, they had good luck with Coda, which ended up winning an Oscar for Best Picture. So now supposedly they're really going to focus intently on this. In fact, our movie reviewer, Scout, just sent me a message today like, oh yeah, the Tetris movie, instead of like usually they have embargoes on when you can publish a review, right? And he says they're going with this theater first thing, and so now you can run it whenever you want. There's no embargo, even though it doesn't come to Apple TV until I think the 31st. So anyway, serious move that Apple's making, and this is Bloomberg says Apple's approached movie studios about partnering to release a few titles in theaters this year and a slate of more films in the future. Supposedly, Apple's going to focus on like this year 3 films that are already in production. One is Killers of the Flower Moon, which is a Martin Scorsese film which stars Leonardo DiCaprio. They've been talking about this. This has been in the works for a while.
Never even heard of it.
Really? Well,
it's on the New Yorker journalist David Grann's 2017 nonfiction book. Yeah, okay. It recounts multiple murders in Osage Native Americans in the 1920s. Okay.
So that's a big project that's been they've been touting that one for a while. They've been getting a lot of mileage about Martin Scorsese's film is coming to Apple TV. Also Argyle, which I had not heard of that one, star-studded spy thriller, and Napoleon from director Ridley Scott.
Now, this one actually looks interesting to me.
And starring Joaquin Phoenix. And
I'm a huge Ridley Scott fan.
And
I love
he's
almost
got that
everything.
Apple tie-in.
He does?
Remember?
Ridley Scott?
He directed the 1984 commercial.
Oh, wow. That was completely gone from my memory banks.
Wow. Refresh.
Thank you for that. Okay, and it stars Joaquin Phoenix, and of course, he's like one of the best actors of our time.
That should be a good one. So, it's interesting. Basically, Apple's going to try and turn these screenings into giant ads for Apple TV Plus, right? You can imagine, like all the trailers are Apple TV Plus shows and movies.
By the way, I tried my secret trick.
Yeah?
Didn't work.
Oh,
didn't work.
The rug's been pulled out.
A message popped up that says, you've reached the maximum amount of trials that can be tied to this Apple account.
What about your wife's Apple account?
Well, that would just be a hassle because my Apple TV is signed into my account. But I made a purchase a while back from Best Buy, and they sent me an Apple TV and Apple Music trial code.
Oh, here we go.
So I tried those. I'm in, Lewis. I'm in big time. Another 3 months of both. So I got till the end of June now. And
wow,
so even though I guess I can't use that specific trial that Best Buy has on their website, if you all don't know what I'm talking about, go to Best Buy and search Apple TV Plus, and you can buy for free a trial to Apple TV Plus, and I used it I think 3 times. And they're 3 months each. It works for new or returning subscribers. I was like wondering how long this would work, so it seems like it might be 3 times. But then the other trial code that they sent me works, so I'm back in, baby.
You can watch Bad Sisters.
Which one's that about?
Bad Sisters is awesome, man. It's it's about these Irish sisters. I think there's 5 of them, and one of them is married to this guy who's a complete jerk, like complete. Like it's one of those characters you just want to like strangle, right? Like so manipulative and evil and just terrible. He's just terrible to his wife, and so they're all like joking about how they really ought to just off the guy, right? And then so there's just a series of things like how does he I think in the very first episode he ends up dead, and then
spoiler alert,
and then it's all backwards. It's like how did it happen, right? And like they have all these ways they think about killing him, try to kill him, things that happen that might kill him. It's really a great black comedy. It's fantastic.
Also never heard of this. There's so many shows or movies I haven't even heard of.
This is a series. It's like 6 or 8 episodes, and
okay.
It's all out. And they've actually renewed it for a second season. It's a great if you like, biting, biting humor and black comedy. This thing is great. The only thing that I thought was weird about it, it's set in Ireland, beautiful, you know, beautiful Irish accents, beautiful Irish scenery, beautiful Irish everything, except the soundtrack is all like American
Bagpipes?
folk
Oh.
music. It's weird.
I
You would
guess
think that they
bagpipes
would
are
use
Scottish.
some Irish music.
Yeah, you would think. You would
But,
think like maybe some Bono and The Edge. They've been going around playing everywhere recently.
Just
I think they're
give me
coming out
some
with a new album.
Irish folk music. I mean, I realize that American folk music is based on Scots Irish stuff, but
Is it?
oh
It's
yeah,
a bold
come on.
claim.
Yeah, it's a great one, man. I recommend you watch it immediately. It's just
What about
absolutely great.
have you seen someone in the chat was saying T4 Runner is shrinking good. So that's the one with Paul Rudd and Will
Nope.
Ferrell.
Nope.
I haven't seen it either,
Nope.
but it's
Nope,
one of the
nope,
ones on my
nope,
list.
nope,
I
nope,
actually
nope.
do.
That's wrong.
What?
That's not who's in that.
How
At
do you know?
all.
Have you seen it?
I've seen Shrinking, yeah.
Which one's shrinking?
It's got Jason Segel and Harrison Ford.
Oh, okay.
And so what it's about,
How many dramas do they have that star psychiatrists?
it's
It's
a
like
little
3 or 4.
I haven't watched that other one. That one never sounded appealing to me. But Shrinking is, it's like I think the second most popular show on Apple TV Plus right now. It's about to wrap up. I think its season finale is next week.
Oh,
And-
my
and it's-
apologies. It's The Shrink Next Door.
Oh,
Is the Will Ferrell Paul Rudd show.
yeah. Shrinking is like it's like I feel like it's like a sitcom with swearing. It's like and it's another one of these shows where like if
That's
they
convincing.
just didn't have the swearing, it'd be perfectly like innocuous. I mean, yes, there's some some tawdry situations, but it's just like it feels like a real normal sitcom that you would watch on CBS in 1995.
You're talking about Shrinking.
Yeah, except it's
Okay.
got swearing.
I'm looking at the mini site for The Shrink Next Door, starring Will Ferrell, and I'm looking at Will Ferrell's hair. What era does this take place in? Like the 70s
I think
or
that's set in
something?
the 70s, yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, is that what I look like? That's hitting a little too close to home. I don't have a beard, but you get me those glasses. That's me, Lewis.
Is that what the person was asking about, that one or Shrinking?
Shrinking.
Okay.
But they do have. I literally think they have like 3 shows that star shrinks on Apple TV Plus. All right, let's move on, Lewis. Last story of the week. Midjourney is a generative AI. I don't even know what to call it. Technology. There are other systems that are out there. DALL-E. There's another one that the name is escaping me, but. There's a big war going on right now for all this AI technology. Google now has their AI called Bard. Microsoft is partnering with OpenAI to bring AI technology like ChatGPT from OpenAI and also DALL-E into Bing, hoping that will make Bing relevant again. I should just say relevant.
Oh.
But I think one of the best image tools that exist today is Midjourney, and they just came out with a version 5. And when I saw what it was able to do, I was truly astounded. I was like, I have to try this. So I actually became a paying member so that I could try this out.
Oh, wow.
Because in order to use version 5, which is their newest version, you have to pay them. They won't let you use it for free. And this is the article I saw. Let's see here. Midjourney 5, V5 Playground. Create photorealistic images of famous celebrities with AI. So this journalist goes on to say, I recently had the pleasure of trying out Midjourney 5, an incredible tool that uses AI to generate photorealistic images of famous celebrities. It's absolutely mind-blowing what it can do. Through the Midjourney V5, we can now see our favorite stars in a whole new light. Yeah, I mean, it can do more than this. But I think the main upgrade of Midjourney is that it can create hyper-realistic photo-looking images now, which it couldn't do before. Very accurate faces. And so I'm going to just go through and show you all these images. I'll describe them to you for those of you listening, which is most of you. And Lewis, you can provide any color commentary you have here because I'm about to blow your mind. And then I'll show you some experiments that I did.
I'll tell you one thing, man.
Yeah.
Just looking at those pictures of the celebrities, they all have a kind of a Pixar look to them.
You think so? Well, you can dial that stylization in and out. So here's one. This is Barack Obama. If I didn't tell you that was generated by an AI, you would not know. So you have Barack Obama wearing glasses. He's sitting in like a New York cafe. There's light pouring in from the windows around him. He's wearing like a light jacket and a hat. That looks like a photograph, does it not? Bill Gates.
Yeah, it does.
This one, I think it looks a little more suspect. It's Bill Gates in the same kind of cafe scenario. He's perched his chin upon the top of his hand.
How are the fingers?
I don't see any fingers, but
Fingers look legit.
I mean, when you look at his face, it's like it does look like it might be. Well, it looks like something that might be in a magazine. Here's Steve Jobs. This one, knowing what Steve Jobs looks like as well as I do, I'm like, that looks a little bit off. His eyeballs are a little bit too small, but he's also in like a cafe surrounded by plants with like light shining on half of his face.
Yeah, they're all in the same cafe.
Well, this person did the same search for, so that he did the same prompts for all these images. He just changed the celebrity names. But I mean, I'll show you the prompt here in a second. I mean, how crazy is that you can just put in a prompt and it can generate, this is Donald Trump. That looks like Donald Trump. Like, especially like the hair, like look at the top where it kind of like goes from like the top of his head, it just floats off into space at the front of his head, you know, like that effervescent quality that he has at the front of his hair. Here's Albert Einstein.
That one looks Pixar to me.
That one looks very Pixar to me too. Here's Elvis. He's in the same cafe. I kind of like how it stylized it a little bit differently, though. That this looks like a picture that was taken in the past, and it looks like film. The Dalai Lama. Queen Elizabeth. That looks like a photograph, man. She's sitting in her queen gear. She's got her pearl necklace on. She has like a hat. And
queen gear.
Queen gear, man. That's what they assign you when you become the queen.
Wouldn't that be a crown?
Well, it's not a crown.
I know.
It's just a hat.
It's just like a whatever.
But I mean, like all like the yeah, whatever. I get what you're saying. You're saying the queen gear would be a crown. Hold on, I'm losing my voice. I'm gonna hack here for a second.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
I heard that you had a mic technique that would stop that from happening.
Oh yeah. Did you even hear that?
Oh yeah.
That one came through?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Oh wow. Here you have King Charles, Lady Gaga, Julia Roberts. So what I've noticed is it's pretty good with famous people who have a lot of images out in the internet, but some people it just can't quite do. Like it can't do Joe Rogan. Like this is not Julia Roberts clearly, but is this not mind blowing? How accurate this is, just from like a human perspective. It creates their outfits, it creates their hair, it creates their facial structures, the nuance in their face, their glasses. You have light pouring in from a window that's reflecting off their face. I mean, this is incredible. Stephen Hawking, that looks exactly like Stephen Hawking. This Michelle Obama's a little suspect. That kind of looks more like Oprah to me, to be honest. Boris Johnson, this looks like the scene of a movie, man. John F. Kennedy, that does not look like John F. Kennedy. Mother Teresa, that looks like her to me. Gandhi looks
movie.
Exactly like Gandhi. Now, this is pretty cool. Abraham Lincoln, right?
As a hipster.
As a hipster sitting in a cafe in New York, looks just like him.
It's funny they left out the top hat.
Well, maybe he took it off. He was inside. Here you got Snoop D-O-double-G. I was at a grocery store the other day. They have Snoop Dogg wine. I'm like, I don't think Snoop Dogg's ever had a sip of wine in his life.
I'm sure it's delicious.
But he sells it. Fidel Castro looks just like him. Marilyn Monroe.
Don't forget Joseph Stalin.
Oh yeah, sorry, I rolled right over him. Marilyn Manson with short hair. Mick Jagger. See, this is what I mean. Like this Mick Jagger doesn't really, that face. There's something more.
That one looks creepy.
There's something going on with that.
I mean, even creepier than Mick does.
Here's Vladimir Putin. Looks just like him.
That could be him.
Look at this. Alfred Hitchcock, and even put the crow in the picture with him. Like, that's pretty cool. This is truly astounding technology. I mean, the fact that you can, with just a limited amount of words, give it a prompt. Because you're not telling it exactly what you want. You're just giving it a prompt, right? And I went down a deep rabbit hole yesterday doing this. Just giving it prompts. It's like the closest that I think that we've ever been to having a portal to another world. Anything that your imagination can come up with, you feed it to this machine and it opens up a window into that world for you. It's truly incredible. And it's so artistic. Like all these photos look so good. That doesn't look like Clint Eastwood, does it? This Al Pacino, Little Suspect. Barbara Streisand, that looks pretty close. But and this is version 5. They said they're coming out with version 6 in a couple of months. So that they're moving so fast.
That's one thing that's really bizarre about this stuff. You see the changes, in the versions, and the versions change like within months or weeks. It's crazy.
So let's go into some of the creations that I made. Okay, so I was just playing around with it. Let's see what I did here. So this prompt was, it's 1987, and Steve Jobs is unveiling the Apple car. And this is what it came up with, man. Like, he's on stage. He's got his turtleneck on, but he has like this cool black suit on underneath his turtleneck. And behind him, you can see like some 80s era car.
It's like a gremlin.
It might actually be a gremlin. But it has like really cool minimalist hubcaps or wheels that kind of look like something Apple would come up with. Like that looks like something that Apple would have created, but you can't see the whole car. You only get like a small view of it. But the Steve Jobs is very close. It's a little off. It's like a young version of Steve Jobs, and it kind of looks like, I mean, it looks very much like him. It's probably off like 5%.
So you told it 90 or 87?
I figure, I think I might have said like 80s.
I wonder, it'd be interesting to see what happens if you use the exact same thing except said, 2025.
I could check it out, yeah. Here I said Steve Jobs is on stage at Macworld introducing the new Mac mainframe computer. This is what it came up with.
Nice sweater.
He's wearing a sweater underneath his turtleneck. That looks exactly like him. He's holding a pencil, looking very stern. And you can see behind him, there's like some weird, like 80s Mac-looking mainframe computer. Here's just Steve Jobs, Tim Cook in a cafe scenario. That one doesn't really look like him, but that one does. Is that not a beautiful photograph? You would have to pay a photographer, a very talented photographer, to take a picture like that. The lighting is perfect. The color balance is really beautiful. Here's another one. Look at the light shining off his face and glasses. Look at that. Now wait a second. Look at his right arm? It looks like it's weird. It screwed it up. It's like his sleeve disappears and suddenly you can see his bare skin. See that?
Yeah.
That's kind of weird.
Yeah, a little island of Dr. Moreau too. In the right arm looks, it's like the right side of his body is like done started the transformation into the Hulk or something. Right? It's like it looks super big and yeah, the sleeve's gone.
So this one, I was trying to have it create a picture of Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak in current day in a cafe.
That didn't work out.
Something. What I realized is it has a hard time creating two faces of a specific or two specific people, or I should say this a better way, more than one specific person at a time. Like it can create a lot of people, but if you want to create specific people, it really only does a good job if you could do one at a time.
Really?
So
that's weird.
This picture is really beautiful, but these clearly don't look like Steve Jobs or Steve Wozniak. Here I asked it to put Steve Jobs on stage releasing the newest iPod in the year 2023. This is what it came up with.
Nice jeans.
Those look like the jeans he would wear. I mean, the face is a little off.
Yeah. I don't know. All the Steve Jobs ones look kind of weird. Like they don't look as detailed or something. As they look kind of like they're clipped out of a magazine a lot, like they don't have the same depth as some of those ones and other things. Is that because your prompt is inferior?
It could be. It also just could be because this is just what it came up with, man. I mean, and you can attenuate these results by, well, your imagination is the limit. Like you could say, do it in the art style of insert the blank.
Mm-hmm.
And it will go out and figure out what that art style looks like, and it will completely change what your image results are. It's just unbelievably powerful. And this is very early days. I mean, in a year or 2 years, I can't even begin to fathom like how in so many instances artists are just going to be replaced because you don't, unless you need something really specific, and maybe this technology could even get you to that point, you could just do this and it will come up with something that is really close, really compelling that you could use for your blog or for your magazine or for whatever. I mean,
Yeah, I heard some people talking about this on the radio, and they're talking about how, like if you wanted to come up with like a character design, right? And you say, okay, do this. And like in the old days, you're working with an artist and you say, okay, well, actually, could you make like his biceps bigger and maybe give him long blonde hair instead of short cropped gray hair? And like how long would it take to redo it, right? The artist has to literally go back to the drawing board or the drawing tablet or whatever. Whereas you just say to Midjourney, you say, oh no, what I just said, and you press a button and like 30 seconds later it's redone it, right?
if that, yeah. Yeah. and they just keep making it better. So if it doesn't do it exactly the way you want, you can say, hey, no jeans, no this, no that, and dial that stuff out. Or you can create a variation on something that you like and change it in small ways. I think eventually you'll be able to be very specific and say, make his shoes green. You might actually be able to do this now. Give him pink hair or whatever, and it will actually go and change that specific part. Sometimes it gets a little weird, and it won't do exactly what you're asking for, but it's early days again, and in a year or two, this technology is just going to be completely insane. And you could use this for free if you go to Midjourney. I don't know if it's midjourney.com or let's see, Midjourney whatever. You can use the free version. They'll give you like a limited amount of credits. You can't use version 5. You can use version 4. Yeah, midjourney.com is what it is. And
you have to use Discord. And
yeah, that's kind of the weird thing. Like Midjourney is a little strange because it makes you, if you want to use it, you have to have a Discord account, and you have to do your command prompts in Discord, which is a little interesting, but for whatever reason, that's the way it works. Probably because Discord probably integrates with like AWS or something. I don't know. I just thought you guys would enjoy that preview because I was playing with this last night and I was completely blown away. And it is a rabbit hole because once you get going, you're like, oh, well, I should tweak this, or I should tweak that, or I'll tweak this other thing, or you come up with a completely different idea, and you can be an artist without being an artist, right? Because the artistry is happening with the AI. All you have to do is figure out how to give it the right prompt. And if you can give it a good prompt, it's like a recipe. If you give it the right recipe, it will deliver you something really cool. And you could totally print and frame this. So like the license that you get from, I don't know about all of them, but from Midjourney, is they give you all rights. Like you could do whatever you want with this stuff. You could sell on a t-shirt, you could print it, hang it in your house, whatever you want to do. And if there's some kind of like superhero or some kind of artwork that you want to mimic in a specific way, have it do something custom for you, and you don't want to pay an artist to do it, you could have Midjourney get pretty close, and then you could hang it in your house. That'd be pretty cool.
So when you like if let's say you wanted to do the Steve Jobs one, and you said, okay, no, I get rid of the jeans. Don't you have to type in the whole prompt and then say without jeans or something, or can you actually just like do an iterative thing that says, okay, take that, but change this?
Yeah, you can change things iteratively if you want.
So you don't have to type in the entire prompt again.
No,
or copy and paste the entire prompt.
No, you can change small aspects of it, and it will take
see.
that original. They call it a seed. They will take that original concept and they'll allow you to adjust it. Yeah, man, it's pretty powerful, and it's totally mind blowing in my opinion. I'm gonna keep playing around with it, and if you guys like this, we could feature this from time to time. I know this isn't our typical content, but again, in the world of technology, I can't recall a time where I saw something that was more disruptive than this. I mean, and we are very in like the nascent stages of this. when this thing really comes online and you can do all this from your iPhone or it's more accurate, it's going to be a completely different world, because now in the hands of anybody is whatever you can dream of, whatever you can think to describe, you can create an image of with almost zero effort. Like that's pretty powerful.
Pretty wild.
Mark T says, I miss LK.
No, we all do.
Get the moderator in here. Maybe I can get some AI LK action. How about that, Mark? So we'll see what I can do. I don't know if he's well known enough for that to work, but I think you might be able to feed it some images and train it. All right, all. Let's go ahead and wrap it up there. That's all the CultCast we have for you guys this week. We're way off the rails. We're in the weeds. We're in the bushes. The train's going off the tracks. And I think that should be all the CultCast that we keep going. Plus, I'm losing my voice. But if you want the fun to continue going, I'm at Erifon, ERFWin. Lewis is at Lewis Wallace. This has been the CultCast, the best 30+ minute Apple conversation you're going to hear all week long, Lewis. New episodes of the CultCast come out every Thursday night, Lewis. Everyone, don't forget it. I want to thank everyone for hanging out live and for listening, and we will see you guys next time. That's what we need, Lewis. An AI LK. In fact, there's the name, AI.LK. It is an AI-generated British person with a sense of humor. We could program it to have Tourette's syndrome, so it has that LK charm. But the difference is it participates, doesn't fall asleep accidentally at its desk. All the strengths, none of the drawbacks. Put AI LK on Lewis's face. I would never do that to Lewis. We'll see what we can do. I'll keep playing around with it. I mean, at some point I could probably replace LK with ChatGPT. All right, all. Have a great weekend. Bye.